Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Planet Waves TV. My name is Eric Francis Coppolino, reporting in from Kingston, New York. I've been avoiding being in front of a TV camera for about 6 months, and what a 6 months it has been, but I'm back and I am happy to be here with you. I spent a lot of that time either covering domestic politics in the United States, crazy as they are right now, but then starting in November, I began to apply myself in earnest to a project called The Book of Your Life, which turned into the, I think, longest and most beautiful interpretations that I have done. This was my 19th year doing a year ahead interpretations, and it is indeed a book of 12 chapters, and I'm proud of this work. And more than that, I'm happy to be able to put solid, actual, beautiful astrology in front of you, so that you have the ability to, really go into some depth. A little bit more about that in a moment. All right, so we are coming up on an eclipse of the sun, and that's happening in the sign Pisces, and it's happening on Sunday. I'm recording on Thursday evening. Planet Waves is about to come out, and I'm done with my part of that project, so I get to be here for a little while speaking with you. So this eclipse of the sun is the Pisces new moon. It's also an annular solar eclipse, not annual, but annular. And all that annular means is that it would be a total solar eclipse were the moon a little bit closer to the Earth. And when the moon is closer to the Earth, it seems bigger and therefore is better able to cover the disk of the sun. And when the moon is a little bit further from the Earth, and it aligns with the sun in an eclipse pattern, it doesn't quite exactly cover it. So this is not a partial eclipse. It's a special kind of eclipse called an annular eclipse. And I have found that it doesn't really matter what kind of eclipse it is. You can't really predict the influence or impact of an eclipse by the type of eclipse so much, though there's about to be the next solar eclipse that happens after this one is a pretty big one, and it goes streaking across the entire United States of America from sea to shining sea, and that's going to be in Leo, and it's a pretty big deal, and I will of course be covering that through much of the spring and into the summer. So the feelings associated with an eclipse like the one we're having are a kind of a sense of a phase of life wrapping up. I mean, any new moon is like that, but the eclipses kind of indicate watersheds of life, large and expansive areas that maybe last for 6 months between the eclipses. Maybe they last even longer than that, and there is this sense of imminence and of pressure and of something about to happen. And let's take a look at this chart and see what that might look like. First of all, just checking the astrology as a kind of a gestalt, like the whole image. How do I do this again? I forgot how to do this. This is funny. Okay, well, I'm going to hide behind this for a second so that you don't have to look at me. When at the moment, here's most of the planets. Look at this with my handy G&L whammy bar. That's Mercury, and that's the South Node, and that's Nessus, and the Sun and the Moon, and Neptune, and Pallas, Athene, and Chiron. There's 2 more planets there. Then in Aries, there's Venus about to go retrograde, and Mars, and Uranus, and Eris. Look at this concentration of planets in one part of the sky. Is anything feeling a little bit lopsided to you about life? Literally, when the planets are like this, there is a lot of weight and emphasis in one direction. Just as a kind of an astrological joke, when I was very new to doing this, I read an article in the local paper about a school bus that fell over. And nobody was hurt, but the school bus, I guess, took the turn a little bit too sharply, and it fell over, and they gave the time, which I've said many times is if you're an astrology student and you see the time of a news event in the paper, and the place is always given, but if the time is given, cast a chart and get a feeling for what this thing looks like in the chart. And the way this bus rolling over looked like was all the planets in the chart were concentrated on the west side of the chart, on the relational side, on the horizon at about sunset, and the bus just went boom, like in the direction of all the planets. Now, I'm not saying that caused it, but it was a funny image of it. And when the planets are all concentrated like this, which happens from time to time every few years, there can be this sense of just too much, too fast, or this is all very concentrated, and you might feel like you're under a lot of pressure. What's interesting about the pressure that we're under right now is that, I'm going to switch this diagram in a second, but that this moon-sun conjunction here, right there, moon and the sun, that's the new moon, and because it's near this thing, the south node, it's an eclipse, is quite close to Neptune. And what Neptune has a way of doing is making things seem invisible. And therefore, a lot can be happening, but you might not notice it. You might just feel it. You might just sense it. You might be feeling and sensing things and wondering if how real or how relevant they are. And it's one of these moments where you kind of have to keep rechecking your perceptions. Neptune's presence can have a kind of a altered state of reality or narcotic feeling, but the feeling is often one of dreaming but not knowing that you're dreaming, and then you start to realize things are a little bit odd or unusual about this reality that you're currently in, and then you have to figure out that you're dreaming. Kind of like in Waking Life, where the guy says that if you want to know whether you're dreaming, try the nearest light switch, and if you flip the light switch on and off and nothing happens, you know you're dreaming. And you need reality checks like that when there's a lot of Pisces and a lot of Neptune. Apart from that, I mean, this is a kind of an inspired moment, and the most interesting thing about this chart, apart from the concentration, is that there is so much in Aries on this side of the Aries point, and so much in Pisces on this side of the Aries point. But physically speaking, more in Pisces, more weight in Pisces than in Aries. We have a gas giant planet there, and the sun and the moon. That's a heck of a lot of momentum and or inertia, however you choose to look at it. And then over in Aries here, there's mainly 4 items. Venus, again, about to go retrograde. Mars, pretty big, pretty close. And Uranus and Eris. So this here is the Uranus-Eris conjunction. Notice that it's very close, and it will be exact for the third and last time on the 17th of March. And then it's going to be like another 100 years till it happens again. And the last time it happened was in 1927-28. That's when, at the dawn of the broadcast era. And I've written a blue streak about this over the past couple of years. That's easy to find on the Planet Waves website, the Uranus-Eris Internet Resource Area. But what we have with the Uranus-Eris conjunction is a kind of a reminder that we are now officially totally inundated by the digital environment, by the good graces of which I am speaking to you here. So in the miracle of the digital dream, I'm manifesting on your phone or in your home or in your entertainment center or a movie theater or wherever I might be. And the thing, when there is one of these outer planet conjunctions here, in this case, an 84-year orbit planet, a whole orbit is 84 years, and Eris, which has about a 550-year orbit, of which it spends a quarter of the entire orbit in Aries. Slow movers, 120 or 30 years or something that Eris is spending in one sign, Aries. Hence, Uranus could go all the way around. It makes the conjunction on the Aries point in the late 20s, can go all the way around and meet back up with Eris before it's even left the sign Aries. So hence, we're getting a second bite of the Uranus-Eris and Aries apple. And at the first time, they were busy licensing the first radio stations and experimenting with television. Hello, Felix the cat, the first thing on TV. And the first transistor was patented, a crude kind of coffee cup size transistor, it would not work in an iPhone. It would not. It's like this probably has like 20 million transistors in it. They made them smaller. They came out with a better design, but it really is the thought that counts, because at the time of the first Uranus-Eris conjunction in Aries in 1927, 1928, radio is at its dawn, and TV is at its dawn, and digital is at its dawn. And then Uranus comes around, one lap of the zodiac, and then suddenly we are under water. We are soaked, completely subsumed by the digital environment. It's kind of wild, and here we all are. So, and the point being, the point of this chart, I think, largely being that these distant conjunctions can be a little bit difficult to see. I mean, you can come down from the hills. You might have never seen civilization in your life, and you can, go to the Verizon store and get yourself a iPhone and jump right in, and like learn how to use the thing in 10 minutes, and then you're in, and not notice the impact of the environment that this thing is part of, or what it does to you or does to people. And this is doing a lot to us. And the Uranus-Eris conjunction is, you might say, the symbol of the power of digital. And it's hard to notice that. But getting to the point here, when a planet like Mars gets into the picture, which it is exactly conjunct Uranus at the moment of this eclipse, right? This chart is cast for the moment of the eclipse. This is it here, 812. Look at that exact conjunction. At the same time, right next door in Aries, Mr. Mars is at 21 Aries 43, and moving quickly, and Mr. Uranus is at 21 Aries 59, and then it's also conjunct Eris at 2244. Mars is in the picture of this eclipse. And so this is potentially talking about something spontaneous and unexpected happening, something unpredictable, something that goes boom, and possibly some kind of an event on the internet, looking for this Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, something like that. All right, so let's pull in a little bit. Let's go from a slice of the chart, which I'm fond of doing, and we'll take that off here. And this is the whole chart, and I've got my extra points, and there's about 25 points in this chart, not the 9 planets, but like 25-ish. And look at how condensed this is now. Pluto out there all lonely, and Saturn being kept company by the galactic center right here in this invisible thing. And then Jupiter, fortunately, Jupiter is across the sky, providing a kind of a counterbalance. If this chart needs a saving grace, the saving grace of this chart is this alignment. Here, let's get a little ruler. Mr. Ruler, can you tell that I like arts and crafts supplies and to do things with them when I have time? All right, so let's put Mr. Ruler here. And we're going to look carefully at this. So Jupiter's there. See Jupiter right there at 22. Dear finger, where are we? Okay. See that Jupiter there at 22 degrees, the biggest of the planet, 1,300 times the size of the Earth. Think about that for a second. If the Earth was a marble, Jupiter would be 1,300 marbles. That's a lot even for marbles. Okay, and then here across the sky at 21 and 22 is Mars, a nearby terrestrial planet, and then Uranus, a fairly nearby gas giant, the closest of the Jupiter is the closest of the gas giants. So the second closest of the gas giants, and then Eris, a little bitty thing far away. So 3 different kinds of planets completely, but they're all opposite Jupiter. And so Jupiter is doing something we haven't had for long, and we won't have it for long. It's providing a counterbalance to all of the madness. Now, you might not see it like that, but if it seems like what's going on is just unmitigated insanity, it is mitigated by Jupiter in Libra, which has an interest in justice and beauty and things going well. One other interesting thing before I go to my hand-drawn chart is that there is a mutual reception. And I'm not sure if I missed, someone else mentioned it on Planet Waves, or I've just neglected to mention it. But Saturn has dignity in Libra. It's exalted in Libra, and Jupiter has dignity in Sag. So in a sense, Jupiter and Saturn are occupying signs where they have mutual dignity, and that's called, sometimes it's called mutual reception, sometimes it's called mixed reception. The effect is basically the same. It's a particularly strong and influential situation, and one thing that it means is we can imagine that Saturn is also there, and that Jupiter is also there. So it's a reverse position. There's different interpretations of what this condition of mutual or mixed reception means. I tend to see the most positive, which is a kind of an option. It presents an option. It presents the ability to switch things, like castling in chess, where you can get out of check once during a chess game if the king is in the back row of the chessboard and the castle is in the back row of the chessboard, and someone moves a piece and calls check. You can just go, we'll switch these two pieces, and you're saved once in a chess game. You can only castle once. Most chess games don't have it at all, so it's just this kind of option that the people who made up the game of chess put in the game of chess, and it also appears in astrology, and the way this appears is if you feel as if you're in some kind of a situation where you're out of options, look more carefully and you're likely to find an option. All right. Now let's just look a little more closely. All right, so this simplifies the chart greatly, and I've basically just left in the Pisces group in simplified form, and the Aries group in simplified form, and then I've left Saturn in because it is in a square aspect to Chiron. Right, it's at about 90 degrees to Chiron, and Chiron and Saturn are going to be hanging out at about 90 degrees all year. And what's really interesting, and that I wrote a lot of the book of your life about, is that Saturn is conjunct the galactic core. Saturn is going to basically be sitting on the galactic core. Now, this poor little GC written in Sharpie hardly captures the grandeur of the galactic core, which is the center of our spiral island in space. It is our home on this island. It is the bridge of the spaceship. It is whatever you want to think of it as any metaphor for something that is genuinely central. And it would seem that one of the primary organization modes of the universe is the spiral. And so we've got this spiral that we live on way out on the edge, 25,000 miles from the core, but that's like going to 7-Eleven. It's really close. It's right in the neighborhood. And Saturn is currently conjunct the core. And this is what I would call a spiritualizing influence. And it is so interesting that there is some significant mention of Saturn conjunct the galactic core in every single chapter of the book of your life. Though the most work I did on it was in Sagittarius, and it's there for you to read. Okay, so meanwhile, the really standout thing about this chart is how much there is in Pisces and how much there is in Aries, and the fact that there's a major conjunction going on both in Pisces and in Aries at the same time. So the conjunction in Pisces is Moon conjunct Sun, but it's also conjunct Neptune. And then the conjunction in Aries is Mars conjunct Uranus, and Uranus is already conjunct Eris. So there's a lot of conjunctions happening, and they're happening at the same time. Now, I think this chart does call for some care and caution and paying attention, because there would seem to be a haze around whatever events this chart describes, and it is clearly describing some things in the world that are going to manifest, and as that happens, when that happens, wherever it might be, whether it's a thing in the news or a thing in your life or a movie you're making or an art project you're doing, there is something that is kind of veiled and hidden about it, and then there's something really obvious, and the connection between the two is not obvious. You have to make the connection. You have to notice the connection, and then over the few days after the eclipse, the sun. Let's use this one. It's easier to see. The sun. There's the sun. It's going to make a conjunction to Neptune, right? The moon's going to keep going real fast. There's going to be an eclipse at about 10 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday, and within 2, 4, 6 hours, the moon is conjunct Neptune, and it moves on. That's important. I mean, but it's short-lived. Then, for the next 3 or 4 days, the sun approaches Neptune, and the thing about Neptune is, of all the planets I've worked with, Neptune seems to have the widest orb of influence. Neptune seems to start picking up activity 10, 15 degrees away. It's a big, wide vortex, and the sun is going to pass right through and into that vortex and then out of that vortex. That's the fog factor. So discernment is necessary. Pay attention to the events of your life. This is the classic astrology to be impeccably careful about the mix between things that inebriate you, intoxicants, i.e. wine or pot or whatever, and operating machinery of any kind, driving a car, using a lawnmower, if there's a big snowstorm, using a snowblower, to be careful, because the sun moon Neptune has a kind of a fog around it, right? A kind of a narcotic haze around it, and Mars Uranus has a kind of an accident-prone quality. So don't be self-destructive unless you're really committed to destroying yourself. And if you're really committed to destroying yourself, well, you'll have a great time this weekend. But if you don't want to destroy yourself, which is partly what I'm here to help you not do, help you make the most of it and see this stuff as a creative and engaging and fun opportunity, pay attention. If you're going to smoke a lot of pot or drink a bottle of wine, stay home or stay where you are, and don't spark up the snowblower or write your boss a letter telling him how you really feel. Be chill, be cool. I describe a lot of this in the weekly horoscope from last week, which comes out on Monday, and then the weekly horoscope that comes out on Monday. I journal this stuff ongoing in writing throughout the year. There's an awesome stack of papers over there on that dining room table that's really an art and astrology table, where I've got all the charts for the book of your life. I've basically earned like my 19th PhD in astrology doing this project, and so I've cast the charts out to 2018, and then week by week, reading them, usually for the third or fourth or fifth time, I chronicle this in what is somewhat mistakenly called a weekly horoscope. It's really a weekly astrology interpretation, and that is delivered to our subscribers by email. Speaking of subscribers, let's see, where did I put that cool notebook that I have? I don't remember where I put it, but if you subscribe to Planet Waves, we will send you a Planet Waves journal, and if you get a Backstage Pass membership, you can get a hand-painted journal that I made. It is awesome to be able to do this with 100% support of our subscribers and our customers. We do not take any ads. We have no corporation funding or like investors or something like that. We're doing this because you make it possible that we do this, and it's kind of amazing that this fairly complex organization that Planet Waves is supported by the things we sell. We don't have to rent our bandwidth, which means rent time in your mind to pack your head full of stuff that you're not interested in and pills that you don't want to take. All right. So on that note, thanks for tuning in. I'm easy to reach at efc@ericfrancis.com. Again, efc@ericfrancis.com. Weekend's a pretty good time to write to me because things are a little bit quieter, and hope I'm not speaking too soon, but this might be my first weekend off since the election. I've taken bits of time off here and there, but finally it's like, wow, weekend, I don't really have to go anywhere or do much. I'm kind of caught up, and that's a cool thing. I'm also doing astrology readings again. I officially started at 11 o'clock this morning with a client by the name of Ann Cortez, a professional astrologer who was born during the first Uranus-Eris conjunction in 1928. Hi there. And so, you know where to find me. Signing off for Planet Waves, your friendly neighborhood astrologer. Bye for now.